You might not believe it, but this is about to become the new skyscraper capital of Europe. But we're not in Madrid, Paris or Berlin. This is Frankfurt.
The 4 towers I'm standing at the top of are just the beginning of a skyscraper boom that's now reshaping this city. But what's really driving the huge surge in new construction here? How are engineers building all these towers in such close proximity? And what's causing Frankfurt to construct so many skyscrapers when the rest of Europe doesn't seem so fussed? Europe doesn't like skyscrapers. It has the money and the population density to support the construction of skyscrapers on the scale and volume of those in America or China, but it doesn't. The continent has a collective GDP of around $16 trillion and a population of over 740 million, but Europeans have been notoriously stubborn in the way their cities are constructed. Of all the skyscrapers built in Europe to date, an incredible 66% of them are located in just 5 cities: London, Paris, Istanbul, Moscow and Frankfurt. Now, there are a load of reasons why most European cities don't build tall. There's their inclination to preserve heritage buildings, past failures that left eyesores on famous city skylines, and a tendency to group what skyscrapers they do have into clusters outside of the city. Think of Paris's La Défense, London's Canary Wharf, or Moscow's International Business Centre. Frankfurt, on the other hand, has built skyscrapers right smack in the middle of the city, and it's now got plans to build even more.
Frankfurt's emerged as a bit of an exception to Europe's typically low-rise cities. For a long time it was home to the continent's tallest building, the iconic Commerzbank Tower, and 95% of all German skyscrapers are right here. Now, there's a few reasons for that.
Firstly, Frankfurt is wrapped in a 70-kilometre green belt that limits development to an area roughly half the size of Venice. It prevents urban sprawl, and the only option is to build upwards. There's also very strict rules around airport flight paths, limiting development to very specific areas of the city. On top of all that, Frankfurt was badly damaged during World War II, and that led to more space for new development. During the reconstruction of what was then West Germany, Frankfurt emerged as a financial powerhouse, and many of the world's major banks and financial institutions hold offices here to this day, making it a particularly affluent location.
The city's wealth has attracted people from all over the world. In fact, 50% of Frankfurt's residents don't own a German passport.
That might help explain an apparent readiness for a more international architectural style and larger scale developments. There are currently more than 50 high-rises either being built or planned in this city, including the 288-metre Millennium Tower, Germany's new tallest building. That's due to start construction in 2025.
Leading the charge on that construction boom is 4 Frankfurt, a new development, funnily enough, consisting of 4 towers that are going to fundamentally change this skyline.
Designed by UN Studio, these towers will act as a complete neighbourhood within themselves when they complete in 2023. Tower 1 will rise to 233 metres and house mainly offices. Tower 2 will hit 173 metres and contain serviced apartments. Tower 3 climbs 120 metres and features condominiums alongside a hotel, and finally Tower 4 will reach 100 metres and also offer office space. There'll also be new public areas, shops, restaurants and all the things you might expect. Technically, only Towers 1 and 2 are actual skyscrapers. They exceed the Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitats definition threshold of 150 metres.
We have 16,000 square meters here, and we built 4 skyscrapers. So there's never been something like that in Germany in the past, so it's a very special thing.
Now, the unique design of the buildings maximises the amount of light that each tower gets, as well as the views from each floor. They dramatically bend away from each other and nearby buildings, increasing the distance between each structure.
For decades, the city centre and the banking district have been kind of severed, but this new development will reconnect them and create a sort of mixed-use neighbourhood in the process.
In the past, this area here was closed. Nobody could go there, nobody could see what was there in the past. And with these 4 towers, we open this area.
But as if building 4 towers on a small site in the heart of a major city weren't tough enough, these towers are all being constructed using different techniques. That's because it's a mixed-use development, and mixed uses means very different floor plates. The columns are in different places in each tower, the extent of glazing varies, and there are a lot more bathrooms in a hotel than you'd find in an apartment. So the drainage pipe routes that are cast into the concrete floor slabs all vary too. But the main way these structures differ is in an area that few of us will ever actually see. They're concrete cores. Now, because skyscrapers can't stand up without them, they provide rigidity and resistance to lateral and vertical forces, cores have a habit of setting the pace of work on any skyscraper construction site. Once the core is up to a certain floor level, the rest of that floor can then be built out around it. For Frankfurt is, you guessed it, building 4 cores at once, and to get them up as quickly as possible, the project team are using systems from PERI tailor-made to each tower. These climbing units include wall formwork and platforms that are moved up from floor to floor by integrated hydraulics.
We have different towers here at the project. We have Tower 1. We are standing at Tower 1 right at the moment. We use ACSG for building the core, and we have RCS for the protection shield on top of the tower.
They create a safe environment for those working on the cores and have the ability to self-climb the structures as they rise, reducing the amount of time that needs to be scheduled with the project's cranes, machines that are always in high demand. As each story of a core is completed, the load of the formwork system from the upper working brackets is transferred to the lower climbing brackets. Hydraulic jacks then push the entire system up to the next level. The red working brackets are secured to embedded anchors in the next pour, and the load of the system is transferred back onto the red brackets. Then the yellow climbing brackets are released, and the hydraulic jacks bring the lower deck up to join the rest of the core system. The whole sequence is repeated to the very top of each tower. The RCS Max employs a similar principle, but with a rail climbing technique. Hundreds, if not thousands, of skyscrapers around the world are built with PERI's systems, and the name, if not the red and yellow equipment colour, will probably be familiar to you.
We use nearly every system PERI has, so you can see nearly everything here. We have Skydeck for building the ceilings. We use Multiflex as well. We have Maximo and Trio to build the walls, and yeah, you can see ACS, RCS, RCS Max as well. They built a lot of skyscrapers in the past, so they know what to do. So it's easy for us to work with PERI together because PERI has a lot of know-how they can give to us.
These systems are going to be needed more and more as Frankfurt continues its construction drive, a phenomenon that's been partly attributed to a Brexit building boom. In 2017, following the result of the Brexit referendum, a number of major construction projects were announced in Frankfurt. Projects from Bjarkingels Group, Ollie Sheeran and UN Studio, including for Frankfurt. It was kinda seen as an attempt to lure banks and financial institutions away from London. Businesses who are now looking to headquarter in a city that had a physical foothold in the EU. That caused the real estate market to skyrocket. The price of luxury apartments jumped 25% in a single year, and 20 skyscrapers were announced to be built within 5 years. Then 2020 happened. While the pandemic slowed Frankfurt's boom, some 40 major firms did relocate here after Brexit, and momentum is continuing to build now the world is opening up again.
That won't look like that in 10 years' time. Over the next decade, this city is set to completely transform, and the skyline we all see today will be almost unrecognisable by the end of this decade. That for me really shows the power of construction, and once again how this industry shapes so much of our world.
The best thing will be in nearly 1 year when we finish Tower 1 and we stand on top of the last floor and look above Frankfurt. That will be a special moment.
This video was made possible by PERI Formwork Systems. You can learn more about that at the link below. And as always guys, if you want to get more from the definitive video channel for construction, from the channel that takes you onto the top of skyscrapers, make sure you're subscribed to the B1M.